Hello everyone, my name is Roya, and today I'm going to be talking to you about some of my auto-buy slash auto-read authors. So most of these are not fantasy, you will realize, and I think a lot that is in large part because I am only picking authors who I've read more than one book or series by and who have written more than one book or series, because I think a lot of my favorite fantasy authors either have mostly stuck to the same series, so I don't really know, there's no real way to know if I only like that series or if I would actually like other things that they've written. Or a lot of my favorite authors also have written so gosh darn many books that there's no way I can read all of them, and not all of them are going to be necessarily my cup of tea, even if most of them are, and even if I've loved all of their books thus far. So the first author I'm going to talk about is Amina May Safi. She is the author of Not the Girls You're Looking For, Tell Me How You Really Feel, and This Is All Your Fault. She writes such compelling, badass ladies who are smart and sassy and have no tact, and I love to see it. And also, it's one thing that's really great about her is that she's wicked smart and puts all kinds of intelligent references and great like feminist quotes and all kinds of stuff in all her books. And that just makes them such a joy to read. So I definitely recommend checking her out if you have not read her books. The next author on this list is Abdi Nazarian, who is probably the one true auto-buy author on this list, because I mean he's at so many book events that I've gone to that pretty much I always want him to sign a copy of whatever book he just released. So I pretty much do always buy his books, and it's not just that I want to read them, it's that I actually want all of them and I think I'm going to reread them, that type of thing. So basically, so he is an openly gay Iranian author writing mostly gay Iranian main characters, and every single one of these books is such a joy to read. It has so much stuff in it that I mean the characters are all so interesting. Even the side characters demonstrate a lot of conflict and things that just really every human kind of can empathize with, that type of thing. So I love like every aspect of these stories, even the really minor plot points. And another thing that's really great about his books as well is that they are the writing is so good. Like he's a really good writer. Like he could be writing a story that I otherwise wouldn't be that compelled to read, but I would still 110% read it just for the writing style, because his writing is so good. Like he really has a way with words, seriously. So all three of these books are really good and really deserve a lot more hype. Next, I'm going to talk about another Iranian author who is also queer, and that is Sarah Farizan, the author of Here to Stay, If You Could Be Mine, and Tell Me Again How a Crush Should Feel. So her books are also really compelling in that even the side characters have a lot of personality, so there almost aren't really any side characters. All of her books are really fun to read and also very different from each other, and that makes it so interesting. And she also writes primarily about Iranian main characters, and especially queer Iranian main characters. So yeah, they're really good books and I highly recommend them. The next author on this list is Kat Winters. She is the author of actually like 5 or 6 books at this point. My favorite of hers, however, is The Raven's Tale. So most of her books are historical fiction-ish. There are actually a couple of books of hers I haven't read yet. I think it's just the first couple of them that I haven't read, but I've read all her books like since then, and I've given every single one of her books that I've read 5 stars. I've loved the crap out of them. So this one's my favorite one. It's basically a retelling of the kind of history of Edgar Allan Poe, only in kind of a alternate reality in which you can see people's muses, and so he's afraid to express himself through his art because his muse is this like creepy crow lady with like feathers in her hair, and she's like terrifying. And so if people see her, they go like, oh, is that your muse? Like, what is your deal and all that stuff. So he's almost like ashamed of the kind of stuff that he writes, and he tries to write stuff that is not him because he's trying to like look better than he, you know, thinks that he should be, that he would be if he just writes what he wants to. So it's a really interesting story the whole way through, and I love the crap out of it. So Kat Winters' books are just really, really interesting, and I really want to read all of them. And last but not least, we have N.K. Jemisin, the author of a ton of books. So I have actually not read this one, but it is next on my list. I'm really, really excited to read this. So she writes primarily sci-fi, that some of it borders on fantasy, sort of. But I've read the vast majority of her books at this point. There are like just a couple that I haven't read. So I'm really, really excited to read more of her books. So I love the way that all of her books are, and all of her series are each very, very different from each other. She really comes up with some really interesting ideas that you just don't see elsewhere. And for that reason, her books are just incredible. So anyway, these are some of the authors that I always want to read everything that they come out with. So let me know if you've read any of these authors and what your thoughts are, and who are some of your auto-buy or auto-read authors. And I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye!